based on annual GDP, 51 are corporations, and 47 of that 51 are US-based. Walmart, General Motors, and Exxon are more economically powerful than Saudi Arabia, Poland, Norway, South Africa, Finland, Indonesia, and many others. And as protective trade barriers are broken down, currencies tossed together and manipulated in floating markets, and state economies overturned in favor of open competition and global capitalism, the empire expands.
You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today.
This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he shall not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. This is the little season. Verse 8. Verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and he shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the brim of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved and the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. There's going to be a time that they're going to be devoured. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophets are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white and I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And when I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and an other book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. So everybody's going to be judged at the end of the day. We need to understand what this deceiver is doing. Because in verse 4, what happened? He had seen the souls of them that were beheaded for not taking the mark of the beast. We see the mark of the beast. We understand the mark of the beast. And we know the elect's not going to take the mark of the beast. We go into Revelation chapter 7, verse 3. saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of the Most High in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000, and all the tribes of the children of Israel. So we go on hearing that there's going to be 12,000 sealed from each tribe. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So, at the beginning of the video, who was he talking about? IBM, AT&T, all these big corporations, right? Which IBM is one of the main forerunners of the FRID chip.
What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, minimax solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments, just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale.
The world is being taken over by a handful of business powers who dominate the natural resources we need to live while controlling the money we need to obtain these resources. The end result will be world monopoly, based not on human life, but financial and corporate power. And as the inequality grows, naturally more and more people are becoming desperate. So the establishment was forced to come up with a new way to deal with anyone who challenges the system. So they gave birth to the terrorist. The term terrorist is an empty distinction, designed for any person or group who chooses to challenge the establishment. This isn't to be confused with the fictional Al-Qaeda, which was actually the name of a computer database for the US-supported Mujahideen in the 1980s.
Everything is created. Why? To put fear in someone so they can overtake another country.
In 2007, the Department of Defense received $161.8 billion for the so-called global war on terrorism. According to the National Counterterrorism Center, In 2004, roughly 2,000 people were killed internationally due to supposed terrorist acts. Of that number, 70 were American. Using this number as a general average, which is extremely generous, it is interesting to note that twice as many people die from peanut allergies a year than from terrorist acts. Concurrently, the leading cause of death in America is coronary heart disease, killing roughly 450,000 each year. And in 2007, the government's allocation of funds for research on this issue was about $3 billion. This means that the U.S. government in 2007 spent 54 times the amount for preventing terrorism than it spent for preventing a disease which kills 6,600 times more people annually than terrorism does. Yet, as the name terrorism and Al-Qaeda are arbitrarily stamped on every news report relating to any action taken against U.S. interests, the myth grows wider. In mid-2008, the U.S. Attorney General actually proposed that the U.S. Congress officially declare war against the fantasy. Not to mention, as of July 2008, there are now over 1 million people currently on the U.S. terrorist watch list. These so-called counterterrorism measures, of course, have nothing to do with social protection, and everything to do with preserving the establishment amongst the growing anti-American sentiment both domestically and internationally, which is legitimately founded on the greed-based corporate empire expansion that is exploiting the world. The true terrorists of our world do not meet at the docks at midnight or scream Allah Akbar before some violent action. The true terrorists of our world wear $5,000 suits and work in the highest positions of finance, government, and business. So, what do? How do we stop a system of greed and corruption that has so much power and momentum? How do we stop this aberrant group behavior which feels no compassion for, say, the millions slaughtered in Iraq and Afghanistan, so the corporatocracy can control energy resources and opium production for Wall Street profit? How do we stop a system of greed and corruption that condemns poor populations to sweatshop slavery for the benefit of Madison Avenue? Or that engineers false flag terror attacks for the sake of manipulation? Or that generates built-in modes of social operation which are inherently exploitative? Or that systematically reduces civil liberties and violates human rights in order to protect itself from its own shortcomings? How do we deal with the numerous covert institutions, such as the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberg Group, and other undemocratically elected groups which, behind closed doors, collude to control the political, financial, social, and environmental elements of our lives? In order to find the answer, we must first find the true underlying cause. For the fact is, the selfish, corrupt, power, and profit-based groups are not the true source of the problem. They are symptoms.
It's back in Obadiah chapter 1 verse 11. In that day thou should have stood on the other side. In that day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into the gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on that day of thy brother in the day of that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over their children of Judah in that day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in that day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossways to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward should return upon thy own head. For as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continuously. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall be not Shalakia, and there shall be not Shalakia, and there shall be not but any remaining out. Whew, this is fire. Let me read verse 18 once again from the top. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh Hashem has spoken it. So for Esau, there's not going to be nothing remaining at the end of the day. You have glorified yourself. You have made yourself high. You have set your nest upon the stars. You control every single country around this globe, on this earth. You have destroyed the air. You have destroyed the land. You have destroyed the water. It is all defiled by your hands. So to be that you will be destroyed as well. Your government system will cease to continue. When the Most High comes back, when Yahweh Hashem Yahushai arrives in all his magnificent chariots, there should be no one who would be able to stand before him. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works, and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said travails, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despisefully shall dwell in torments. Verse 10. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they have yet liberty, and when as yet place of place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. So are you 2/3 out there? Are you 1/3 out there? Are you elect? Whether you know you're part of the elect or not, we do this for the elect. If you hear these words, you're going to come into it. You're going to hear. You're going to humble yourself. You're going to repent. And what does he say? He says, don't be worried about how these other heathens are going to die. Don't be worried about how Esau's going to die. Don't be worried about how the 2/3 are going to die. Worry about your salvation. Understand your salvation. Read. Get understanding. Get wisdom, knowledge. There are teachers out there to teach you. You need to come back to your heritage. You need to start understanding what's going on around you in this world. You need to stop being so simple-minded. You cannot sit here and continue and be happy and satisfied in this world. This is not our rest. This is Amos chapter 9 verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So the remnant, the elect, the 1/3, you're not the one. You're gonna be the only ones not to be destroyed. Come back into remembrance. Read. Watch videos. Look outside your house. Look what's going on around you. Watch the news. That's the only way you're going to really find out what's going on. With that, I just want to say shalom. I really, hope that the Most High has made these little videos edifying unto the house of Israel, unto the house of the elect, Jacob. With that, shalom.